welcome back to Growing Kentucky's Leaders. I'm one of your hosts, Sheldon McKinney.
I'm your other host, Ruth Ann Fink.
And lots of folks say that FFA is a family, but today we have members of an actual family, and we have our 2024 Ag Teachers Change Lives recipient, Mr. Kenny Brammell. He's an agriculture teacher at East Carter High School, and his grandson, who is also serving as a Kentucky FFA state officer this year, Blaine Brammell. So, Mr. Brammell, why don't you start off by just introducing yourself and maybe how you became an ag educator?
All right. I am Kenny Brammell here at East Carter, back where I grew up here at, live on the home farm where I grew up on it. I left, went to Berea College, got my undergraduate degree there, went to UK, got my graduate degree in education, teaching agriculture. Come back to the area, wasn't a job open right in this area, so I worked for Southern States as a store manager for almost 20 years. The teacher that's here left and applied, and I've been here 31 years since then.
Yeah, 31 years in the classroom. And we were talking before this started, how many state officers have you had through your program? What number is Blaine?
I think it's 14 or 15. I'd have to go back and look and see. I've been fortunate. I had all three of my kids as students, and so far I've had 7 of my grandkids as students.
Yeah, that is just so special. So, Blaine, why don't you introduce yourself and why you wanted to run for state office? And then maybe tell us a little bit about what it was like having your grandfather as your ag teacher.
All right. My name is Blaine Brammell. I'm the Big Sandy River Region State Vice President, and happily so. And I'd say the thing that made me want to run for FFA the most was just the impact it had on me. Like, I hadn't always been the biggest FFA kid, and then I remember last year at camp, I got the leadership award thing, and that really lit a spark in me, and I really wanted to keep going and carry on and use some of the ability that I have to benefit the members and the organization that's given me so much. And then having Pap as a ag teacher, that's a blessing and a curse. I mean, he's really a wonderful man. I'm just kidding. But no, it's been so nice to have him as an ag teacher. It's getting out of school to go cut fodder shock. It's, anytime we go on the trips, I have to be on the straight and narrow. Has to be first one up and last one to leave, stuff like that. But it's been really enjoyable, and he's such a great man.
Yeah. A lot of people have the experience of having maybe their parent as an ag teacher, being an ag teacher's kid, but not many have the experience of being an ag teacher's grandkid. So, Mr. Brammell, you've had a really unique experience as an ag teacher, having such the family aspect involved, but you also make so many other people feel really welcome. So we just want to give you time to share, how do you do that? How do you make your classroom such a welcoming space for everyone?
I try to. Everything's equal. I keep my expectations up there. I don't care to whip their tail when they're not doing what they're supposed to. Kindly, I guess, like a parent when you get down to it. And then I feel like I reward each and every kid regardless, for their accomplishments, for their achievements. And I try to push to get out of their little box that they live in to expand out. We're losing our ability. That's what I tell the kids all the time. They're losing their ability to talk. They want to sit on their phones and send a text message. It was the one they're talking to straight across the room. And, when you push a kid into doing speeches, into doing parley, into doing presentations in class, all my classes, I do a whole lot of class presentation. And, 30% of kids, I can't get up in front of the class. The devil, you can't. It's going to count your grades, so you might as well suck it up and do it. And after they do it once, it starts getting easier. So, I keep my expectations up. I don't let them back out. I feel like they want to hide behind something. And so put them in an uncomfortable situation one time and it gets comfortable after that. So just keep pushing as we go.
Mm-hmm.
Blaine, would you say that's true?
The tough love part, yeah, we got a lot of that. But no, throwing out and making in comfortable situations. I remember my freshman year, I'd got 4th out of 4 on my vegetable impromptu. And doing another speech my sophomore year was the last thing on my mind, but he pushed me through and made me do it.
Yeah. So, Blaine, I've heard that a lot of students in their school don't call Mr. Brammell. They also, what do they call him?
Hey,
So, a lot of people in the school do that. Do you have any stories about just times that he has helped create a welcoming and challenging place for students?
yeah. Well, one, Pat is the most welcoming man I've ever met. He treats everybody the same. Like, it doesn't matter what you look like, what you wear, how you act, he'll treat you a little different. But no, definitely the parent thing. Like, you can feel the love in the classroom you're in. But no, he makes everybody feel like a family, just in everything he does.
That's important. Blaine, you are a state officer this year, and you told us a little bit about why you wanted to be a state officer, but why don't you expand on that and tell our listeners a little bit more? Like, what was the motivation for you to serve in this role? We'd love to hear about that.
Well, it was actually Pat that brought it up to me. I remember it was January, and he called me down one day. He said, Blaine, I think you're a really good leader. I think that state officer would be a good thing for you. And I sat and thought about it, and we talked about it quite a bit. And then I remember it was March or so. I was like, yep, I'm going to do that. And I remember we loaded up, me and him. He took me up there in June up to the state convention. And from there, I became a state officer. But no, without him, I wouldn't be here because I hadn't even thought about it. It hadn't even crossed my mind until he said something about it.
Yeah, it's good to have someone in your corner that's always pushing you. And, you know, being a state officer, you've learned this quickly that the Kentucky FFA Association doesn't just elect officers and say, good luck, go do your job, go serve FFA members. We really invest in you all as individuals, help you continue to grow as leaders. And currently right now, you're sitting in a conference room at a training that you're at for state office, planning the next event for members. So why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about the summer that you've had and how it's really shaped you into a leader to serve in this role, a state office?
Well, shaped me as a leader. I've learned so much, not only from these trainings, but just interacting with individuals. I've got 12 best friends now. I'd like to say that. These state officers are the best, and Call, if he's a great man. I've just been so fortunate to have them on my side. But also the members. The members are the lifeblood of this organization, and getting to talk to them at camp, they're also great. I've been in contact with a couple of them, and they've got dreams of running for state office or getting first place in their pig impromptu. I was talking to one kid who needed advice about. But no, getting to talk to them has changed me not only as a leader, but as a person. I feel closer to the organization and just all the people in it. It's a family. It truly is.
That's great. Mr. Brammell, why don't you tell us what folks can expect if people are inviting Blaine to come and be a part of their chapter meetings, their events? What can folks expect from Blaine as a state FFA officer?
Okay, I believe Blaine is very outgoing. He works to include everyone around. So, you know, you're not going to sit in a corner, I don't believe, and avoid being part of what's going on. He's very inclusive. He worked strongly with the unified program here at East Carter High School, which is very large, the special ed kids, some of those, and to try to get them involved in student life. So he does the same with about everyone he comes in contact with. He's very straightforward with his answers. So if you ask him something, I believe he'll give you an honest reply on, you may not want to hear it, but he'll give you an honest reply on what you've got to say.
That's great.
So I want to ask a follow-up question to Blaine. Blaine, what are you looking forward to this year? I mean, you're going to be a freshman at the University of Kentucky. You've told me you're studying forestry. So, you know, you've got a life on your own as well. And in addition to being a state officer, but like, what are you looking forward to this year, interacting with all the different people you get to interact with?
Well, I think I could argue I have the best region in the state. We're like we've been heavily emphasizing on the family thing, but the Big Sandy River region is truly a family, and I'll be getting to interact with them the most. But we have chapters all over the state I hope to interact with. But I just look forward to giving some of the knowledge I've learned at these trainings, and just being able to communicate with them the essential roles of leadership, and maybe taking back some of that leadership to their chapters and just dispersing among the FFA.
You'll be great at it.
Thanks.
I want to ask you both about a recent adventure that you've had. Your family just took this huge European vacation together. Tell us a little bit about where you went, maybe Blaine, and then Mr. Brammell, maybe share why traveling has been such a priority for your family as in the places you've went. So, Blaine, where did you all go, and how many people did you take?
Pat, was it 21?
21 of them, yeah.
21. And we went to Germany, France, Liechtenstein, Belgium. Where else, Pat?
Switzerland. Yes, but too quick.
Where was Amsterdam?
You went to Italy because you told me you were in Venice.
Right. We went to Paris, Italy, and the Netherlands.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Mr. Brammell, taking 21 of your family members on this, why has this been a priority for you and your wife, and where all have you been?
Well, my wife has the traveling bug, and she gets all these wild ideas, usually go along with her. And the sad part, she got her daughter trained almost as bad there, so Hip gets in on it pretty strong as well. She loves to see stuff. She loves to try something new. So she says, hey, we're going to Europe. She's a retired teacher, and bless her heart, she worked full-time last year as a long-term sub. And she said, hey, I'm going to put a torture trip. So she got kind of pushed that away. It's very interesting to see, and amazingly, 21 people. We had 8 days. We covered 3,200 miles. Driving during those 7 countries. Everything went well. Sheila had worked on it for about a year as far as motels, planning, driving. She didn't take into consideration the length of stop, so a lot of our days were very long, and as we got through that. But she just wanted the opportunity. She never did travel as a child herself. And she kind of wanted to give the experience to the kids and for them to see as much of the world as they could. So we've been there. We hit 7 countries on this one. We've also been to Ireland and Iceland, pretty unique countries in themselves. Of course, when I'm there, I look at the agriculture, what's going on. She researches all the sites that she'd like for the kids to see. This stop was Anne Frank's house in Germany when he went to Normandy. Her father and my father were both in World War II. So they were both in Germany. So we've seen Checkpoint Charlie, the remnants of the Berlin Wall, things that went along with that. The kids had all studied about the Anne Frank's house and concentration camps and stuff. So we had to go into Amsterdam, the city of 4 million bicycles. And they think they own the place. But anyway, went to the Anne Frank's house. So she Switzerland, we got to see the Matterhorn. So just a variety of stuff to kids that studied during school that they've actually got to experience.
Yeah. Blaine, do you know how rare and special that trip and experience is to get to go do that with your grandparents and your parents and your family?
Oh, I'm extremely blessed. There's no doubts about it. I have the best grandparents. Like Pat said, Grand slaved away for over a year planning that, and not to mention took on a full-time sub job just for us, just for the grandkids and her family. They're great parents, they're great grandparents. They're just some of the best people I've ever met, and they've made my life amazing.
Good. Those are memories you all will talk about for a really, really long time. It's special. Well, we have so enjoyed having you guys on the podcast, but we do end every episode with the same 3 questions. And so we'll ask the same question to both of you. We'll start off with Mr. Brammell answering first for this first one, which is, what is the best piece of leadership advice you've ever received? And then Blaine will have you answer too.
Probably is lead by example. If you're going to expect somebody else to do it, be able to do it yourself. When I was a store manager, it's kind of what I went by. I didn't ask no employee to do something I hadn't done or wouldn't do. And I think for a good leader, to get people to do what you want them to do, they have to know that you're able to do it or will do it, willing to do it yourself. So lead by example. Don't try to be a dictator, and don't expect somebody to do something you wouldn't do yourself.
It's good. Blaine?
Well, Pat stole the easy one, but I'm just going to say treat everybody equal, because you can't have respect for a leader if he's treating you worse than everybody else. You won't listen to him, and you just won't care what he has to say.
That's great. So our next question is, the Kentucky FFA Foundation, we're philanthropy. We give back, and there's so many ways that you can give back, and your time, talent, treasure. But we want to give you an opportunity to kind of shout out somebody who's poured into you and who's helped you become a great leader. So we'll start with Mr. Brent. Who would you like to shout out?
Well, it's probably my ag teacher I had in high school back many years ago, 1967. I was a freshman, and he come to me on the guy that was supposed to do a dairy speech had found out the senior trip was during when FFA day was. He said, I need you to do a speech. I had no idea what he was talking about. He said, I've got impromptu dairy, and I've been on some dairy farms, didn't live on dairy farm, but I said, okay. Have no idea. I won second in the region. That's when we was the Eastern region. I had 22 chapters in our region at that time. I got second. And for a kid that never done nothing like that before to come out, and I come out there believing, hey, I can do this. So, he kind of opened my eyes and to what capabilities I did have.
What was his name?
Junior Pope.
Okay. All right, Blaine, you're up.
That was a good answer. I think my ag teacher was probably the one that taught me the most about leadership. A similar story to Pat in that I got put in a speech. I just didn't have as good a result. I got 4th out of 4, and he pulled me up from my bootstraps. I was not feeling too great. That was a rough night because I poured everything I had into it. It just wasn't enough. But he told me to get back on that horse and keep going. And I think that's truly what a leader does. You scrape them off the ground and you get them going. That's what Pep always does.
That's special.
No one wins all the time. It's good lessons to learn. Well, guys, this is a fun question we always end on, which is, what is something you're loving right now that's helping you grow? So it can truly be anything, a habit, a book, a activity that you like to do, but anything that's just helping you all grow. And this time, Blaine, we'll start with you.
Being outside. Really enjoyed being outside this summer. It's been a really pretty summer.
How does being outside help you grow?
Well, I do quite a bit of gardening this time of year, and it's like meditation. Just being out there, just being able to think, pondering, thinking about what I'm going to do. At the Rising Sun Conference, for example, I thought a lot about that while I was gardening this year and what I wanted to get out of it.
That's good. Mr. Brammell, what's something you're loving that's helping you grow right now?
Well, I want to say I've been blessed with my health and the ability to keep going every day. Yesterday, I had about 17 hours we put in at the county fair, livestock show and auction. And I'm almost 72 years old, but to be able and blessed to have the health and the ability to get up, keep going, and I don't want to quit. So,
yeah, I like that.
We're glad you don't quit either. You're still making a huge difference in your classroom and your community, and you really are a teacher that changes lives. And it's just been so fun to have you all on the podcast. another interesting thing that I want to share if people are listening is we say that readers are leaders and that you are only changed, by the next year will be the same except for the people you meet, the books you read. How many books a year do you read, Mr. Brammell?
Well, most of my reading is done when I'm downtime at camp and conference. And I like to read paperback westerns, and I usually read one a day when I'm at camp. And conferences, downtime, I'll average 20 or 30 paperbacks a year during
Okay.
conferences and stuff like that.
And Blaine, how many books do you read a year?
We're not gonna talk about it. I think
He's going to read more this year for sure. Being a college student.
Go. A lot of books about forestry coming your way.
Oh,
so. Well, you all, thank you so much for being with us today. We have loved having you, and I think everyone will love hearing this conversation. And Mr. Brammell, congratulations on just such a high honor and award. It's been so great to know you for so long, and you truly are making a difference. So, well,
Thank you all.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it, folks. We'll see you next time on the next episode of Growing Kentucky's Leaders.
Growing Kentucky's Leaders is a podcast brought to you by the Kentucky FFA Foundation. Our music is performed by Bourbon County FFA member Joe Fritch. Artwork is by Julie Fritch Creative. Your hosts are Sheldon McKinney and Ruth Ann Fink, and you can find us on all social platforms at Kentucky FFA.